Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. How much cap space do the Pittsburgh Steelers have in the 2025 offseason? The Pittsburgh Steelers are approaching a crucial offseason. How much cap space will they have in 2025? The Steelers' 2024 season ended as expected. They finished with a winning record, made the playoffs, and lost in the first round. It's becoming a trend for Mike Tomlin's teams, and it's getting quite annoying for Steelers fans. I mean, what is the goal here? Is the goal to win Super Bowls or to keep his non-losing season streak alive? The team started two bad QBs in 2024 in Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, and it's increasingly likely that one of them is brought back in 2025 as the starter, which would be a disastrous move. But what do I know? The Steelers won't contend for a Super Bowl until they shed this defensive-minded culture and embrace the modern-day offensive culture. As we approach the 2025 NFL offseason, what do the Steelers have to spend in free agency? How much money can the Steelers spend in free agency? According to Over the Cap, the Steelers will have around $40 million in available cap to spend in the 2025 NFL offseason. This is a solid amount and gives them a good bit of flexibility. Now if you ask me, Pittsburgh should look to make some bold moves. Trading T.J. Watt to build up more draft picks would be a wise idea, for example. That could save Pittsburgh $21 million. Cutting Cam Hayward could save them just under $15 million more. They would save over $15 million if they did the same with Minkah Fitzpatrick and $7 million if they cut Larry Ogunjobi. These moves would seem a bit much, but what is this current group winning? Pittsburgh needs to begin allocating more funds to their offense and get with the program. OTC notes that Pittsburgh has around $177 million allocated to their offense and just $56.6 million allocated to their defense. That, folks, is a bad roster-building team right there. For some perspective, the Philadelphia Eagles have about $40 million more invested into their offense than defense, and the Kansas City Chiefs have more than double the amount along their offense, $175 million, than defense, $82 million. This isn't some weird coincidence. Pittsburgh does not invest enough resources on their offense, and it's left them in a bad state. They're likely starting one of Fields or Wilson in 2025, which just goes to show you that this team may not ever learn their lesson. What a disaster of a situation for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers owner says what fans don't want to hear. Keep it in perspective. The Pittsburgh Steelers are still happy with their culture, even after some horrid losses in the playoffs as of late. After the team's loss to the Baltimore Ravens, the Steelers had a gut check about their effort and focus. Players rebuffed the idea of effort being an issue, but rather, the execution of it. Team president Art Rooney too would agree with an assessment of that, saying the team's culture is fine since they have success to even make the playoffs, but they have to find a way to win there. I'm very comfortable with the culture in this team. I think it is a winning culture. I think people need to keep it in perspective here. Even though we haven't reached our goal of winning a Super Bowl, we've had winning teams. We've been making the playoffs, Rooney said to Ashley Liotis of WTAE. The Steelers have not won a playoff game in 8 years, one of the longest droughts in team history. In the modern era, it is largely unprecedented. Rooney says that while Tomlin's message is getting through, that needs to change. Tomlin has now lost 6 in a row in the postseason, which is a Steelers franchise record and the longest active streak in Tomlin's tenure. His last playoff win was in 2017. With that, Tomlin joins 4 other coaches in the pantheon of NFL history as coaches who have lost 6 or more straight playoff games in their career. Jim Mora, Marvin Lewis, Marty Schottenheimer, and Shane Owen are the only other coaches to reach that mark. Lewis holds the record with 7 straight playoff losses. Bill Belichick reveals unfair lesson he learned from Pittsburgh Steelers. When he was at the peak of his powers, legendary coach Bill Belichick was the cutting-edge coach, despite being one of the longest-tenured head coaches in the league. On his show, Belichick revealed a key rule that he learned from the Steelers and what they would do. The rule relates to the unfair rule of jumping off sides continually to try and stall out the game when it fit the situation. I learned that from a trick that your Steelers used to pull, Belichick said. Back when those PATs were on the 2-yard line. Score tied, end of the game, PAT, to win. And the corner would jump offside and go block it. Be offsides by 2 yards. And now it's kinda in the head of the kicking team of what's going to happen here. And then they'd do it again and again. They'd try to beat the count, sorta like this, until it was kicked or they blocked it and they weren't offsides. And there was a judgment by the referee: if you do this again, we're just going to make the extra point good. Because they're kicking from the 1-inch line. The Commanders nearly allowed points automatically, and referees can do that if the palpably unfair fuel, as Belichick refers to it, continues for an extended period of time. Rules like that and the in-depth knowledge of them is what has allowed Belichick to stay at the top of the game. And are you a fan? What do you think of Bill Belichick's statement? Leave your opinion in the comments.